Good afternoon. Please take your seats. Good afternoon. This is about bioeconomy. Please take your seats. The Director General is pleased to share the podium with 3 ladies, he just says. I'm Joachim von Braun. I'm the chair of this session. I'm with Bonn University and I'm a member of the International Advisory Council on Global Bioeconomy. Warm welcome to all of you, and especially to our distinguished panels. We have 4 speakers which will give their presentations in a moment, and then we have a panel of discussants from all over the world. I will introduce them one by one when they come. Bioeconomy, the catalyst for agro-food systems transformation. That's the title of this session, as you know. But transformation to what? Transformation to sustainable, resilient economic systems. That is bioeconomy. Bioeconomy has the ambition to be the end game of transformation and not the process game of transformation. Of course, the food system plays an absolutely key role in the sustainable, resilient bioeconomy. About 60 countries have put bioeconomy on their agendas. A big push on investment in bioeconomy is still needed. The Director General, it's strategic by FAO to put bioeconomy prominently in your science strategy, which you did, and your team, and on the agenda of this World Food Forum. This session has clear objectives. Number 1, a shared vision for a sustainable bioeconomy. Secondly, unified sustainability principles and strengthening the science policy in support of bioeconomy. Third, alignment with multilateral commitments, the UN Food Systems Summit, the COPs on climate, the COPs on biodiversity. Bioeconomy needs to feed into all of these. And fourth, agreeing on global bioeconomy partnerships. Without further ado, I would like to ask you, Director General, to address this audience who is eagerly waiting for your presentation. You have a science background in bioeconomy, vegetables, horticulture, the potato, your degree from Wageningen is a bioeconomy degree. You have the floor.
Thank you.
Please.
Thank you, my old friend. I was calculating how many years ago we met in the Chinese Academy of Agricultural Sciences when Von Braun was Director General for IFPRI. So you have first generation and your education and mentor. You were a mentor. So that's 2002, so it's 21 years ago we met when I was Vice President of Chinese Academy of Agricultural Sciences. And Maxima is your second generation, I think, because and Sentará is your first generation. So now the Minister of Rwanda is your third generation. So it means we are getting senior. Yeah. So I'm happy to see here all of you, and especially moderated by my old friend Von Braun. First, bioeconomy. My understanding as a natural scientist is biotechnology-based economy with environment-friendly products and environment-friendly sustainable. That's the definition we defined 20, 5 years ago, I think, in 1998, together the scientists from Wageningen, from the United States, from Japan, and so. So that's why I issued the first bioeconomy strategy in China 20 years ago. And we should have first bioproducts, biotechnology and the bioproducts, and then bioindustry, and then lead the bioeconomy. But now, when I come here, the bioeconomy become more general, more broad, I should say. So I think it's very important for us to focus on what is the real bioeconomy can lead the transformation of agrifood systems. We need biotechnology. We need environmentally friendly products. And of course, we need sustainability. So that's 3 key elements and the message we should discuss today. And there are so many challenges. I don't want to repeat it to say, we need to produce more better with less. How? Bioeconomy and biotechnology is one of the approach we should use it. That's why we included in the FAO strategy frameworks as one of the 20 PPA. Yeah. Number 2, bioeconomy should be localized in each members with a different context of the environment. Because if you consider the situation in Germany are different from Italy different from Congo, from Congo different from Brazil different from Saudi Arabia, and China, of course, and the Himalaya mountains, Nepal, Bhutan are different. But one thing should be in common, should be what kind of a real concrete technology should be developed. Let the farmers apply and produce environment-friendly products. That's the second. Third, how promote bioeconomy together through the FAO networks. That's my job. Yeah, I know there are several platforms already. Our secretary, you chaired so many years. So I think I really appreciate if I'm wrong, as an economist, jumping into the biotechnology sector after so many years. But we need to build an inclusive platform. That's why the World Food Forum, we included the Science Innovation Forum. And the Science Innovation Forum, we can talk from gene editing, genomes, sequencing, and also the functional genomics, and also the transgenic plants, no matter seeds, transgenic plants, and also others. And also we need also talk about the organic products. And also we need also biovaccine for animals. And we already enjoy benefits from biovaccine of the human being, mRNA vaccines for the pandemic, COVID-19. So that's a whole holistic products which we should promote, advocate more and better. And then we need more investment, of course, on R&D. I think for that aspect, Van Braun has a lot of data to share with you. I don't know, have you shared during past 20 years how they increased the agricultural R&D in Asia, in the United States, in Europe, or Africa, other regions. We really need more investment on R&D beyond bioeconomy. Last but not least, I think also FAO should be more concrete action related to the bioeconomy. And otherwise, you are just a talking solution. We need a solution to be implement on the ground. For that, I really appreciate all the speakers and from different angles talk about bioeconomy, yeah? And not only one perspective. FAO should be inclusive organization, and especially for the science and innovation. Yeah, it's very important that we build an inclusive approach. Thank you, Van Braun.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for this introductory speech and for your kind remarks, Director General Chu. I would like to now call on the Minister of State for Land Use and Biodiversity in the Department of Agriculture, Food and Marine from Ireland, Dr. Pippa Hackett. You have a background in agriculture studies and a PhD in sports biomechanics. Actually, we feel strongly that this is also bioeconomy, understanding how animals and we move, whether it's the horse or the insect. The learning from nature is part of bioeconomy. Please take the floor.
Thank you, Professor Von Braun, for that, and I think you do raise a good point. Ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests, it's a real pleasure to be here with you this afternoon at the FAO as part of the Science and Innovation Forum. This event, as you know, gives us the opportunity to consider the important role a sustainable and circular bioeconomy has to play as part of the response to the many global challenges we face: climate change, biodiversity loss, energy and food security, health, and sustainable development. These multidimensional and rapidly accelerating crises that are converging today are consequences of our reliance on finite fossil resources and unsustainable development, coupled with our failure to value our most important capital, the basis for human and planetary health and well-being, that is, nature. We have arrived at a tipping point, and we urgently now need to consider how the natural environment, not consumption, becomes our true engine and purpose. Our economic and social outlook must prosper in harmony with nature, and at the same time take the opportunity to be powered by nature. This is not a contradiction, but a necessary condition to create and shape a sustainable future. Because above all, a sustainable and circular bioeconomy is about reconnecting people, nature, and the environment as a basis for that sustainable future. In this light, Ireland has identified the development of a sustainable, regenerative, and circular bioeconomy as being an opportunity for our farmers and agri-food businesses to increase our competitiveness, diversify incomes, and create green jobs in rural, regional, and coastal areas. In this transformation, Ireland believes there is a lead role for governments to create and shape bioeconomy developments to benefit our environment and climate, to benefit systems and sectors such as nature, agri-food, and energy, and to address local challenges through the development of innovative bio-based solutions. One such leadership example is investment by our National Research Agency and my ministry in a project based in the south of Ireland called Farm Zero Carbon. This involves a major agri-food dairy processor, leading Irish universities, a range of SMEs and local farmers collaborating to create a climate-neutral, economically viable dairy farm as a demonstration for the local farming community. The project takes a holistic approach, combining and integrating a range of scientific developments, technologies and practices to reduce and offset greenhouse gas emissions, to enhance biodiversity, and to increase the productivity and resilience of the farm, including by examining aspects such as small-scale green biorefinery and anaerobic digestion. This is an example of the link between developing a sustainable bioeconomy driven by innovation, agri-food systems transformation, and collaborative approaches between all stakeholders. Building on this example, in Ireland we have been on our own bioeconomy journey for just over 6 years, not quite the 20 years of China. And I would like to share with you this afternoon some reflections, some of the lessons we have learned, and to outline to you some of the future steps we propose to take. Our intention is that the Irish bioeconomy will be developed by design and be strongly influenced by both global and EU commitments on climate and biodiversity, while also incorporating feedback from civil society. And crucially, that the bioeconomy should support the development of sustainable food and energy systems. There have been significant policy developments under the current Irish government that are influencing all sectors of the Irish economy and society, including our agri-food sector. And this policy direction is in turn strongly shaping the bioeconomy. These changes have included our commitment to halving our greenhouse gas emissions by 2030 and reaching net zero by 2050, including the settings of an emissions ceiling for agriculture at a level requiring a 25% reduction in greenhouse gas emissions from agriculture by 2030. The Irish Government, through our national strategy Food Vision 2030, has set an ambition for Ireland to become a world leader in sustainable food systems, with the aim to deliver significant benefits for the Irish agri-food sector itself, for Irish society, and for the climate and for our environment. And we have a Circular Economy Act, which provides a legal underpinning for our need to shift to a sustainable pattern of production and consumption. However, to really develop a vibrant bioeconomy, broad policies and legislative measures such as these are insufficient on their own. Specific bioeconomy policy needs to be advanced in parallel, and I will explain some of the key policy steps we have taken in Ireland. In developing a strong bioeconomy, having a vision is an important starting point. And for us, we took that step back in 2018 when we published a national policy statement. Led by the Department of the Taoiseach, that's our Prime Minister's office, this outlines a vision, guiding principles, strategic objectives, initial policy implementation framework, and key initial actions on policy, regulatory, and sectoral coherence, awareness raising, and, of course, investment. This policy statement has led to the bioeconomy being integrated in the long-term national planning and investment framework. This, in turn, has ensured that the bioeconomy has been considered in many other leading national strategies and plans, including our national climate action plans, our whole-of-government circular economy strategy, and our national research and innovation strategy. Taking that first step of developing a bioeconomy vision, we also need biodiversity visions, that has ensured long-term policy commitment to the bioeconomy is maintained. Envisioning a long-term direction also offers us an opportunity to invest in the bioeconomy and use it as a catalyst for a sustainable transition to the much-needed transformational change for our agri-food and energy systems. In this respect, the Irish Government has invested over €80 million in bioeconomy research, innovation, clustering and demonstration activities. This includes developing a national bioeconomy research centre and national piloting and demonstration facilities. It has also enabled clustering activities to align the uptake of bio-based science, technology and innovation with local and regional actors who can apply this knowledge and innovation along with their own local knowledge for a sustainable and circular bioeconomy. Our experience is for that transition to occur, there is a need for policy to encourage and support interactions among multiple actors, including businesses, primary producers, scientific communities, policymakers, social movements, and other interest groups. This essentially allows for the testing and demonstration of bio-based solutions in real-time environments. To facilitate this, the Irish Government, in conjunction with the EU Just Transition Fund, is offering approximately €20 million for bioeconomy testing and demonstration initiatives over the coming years. The key feature of such activities will be that they will be based in specific rural locations, specifically those parts of Ireland most affected by the move away from peat burning for energy. And this will lead to bio-based innovations and solutions being developed specific to this territorial context. Beyond these activities, we have learned that the bioeconomy transition is not always smooth, and there is a need for policy to create and shape market developments for bio-based innovation, particularly aiding challenges with regard to routes to market, addressing the need for capital investment, and addressing regulatory challenges. In this light, we have established a cross-government policy implementation group, and this has built up stable, collective leadership, coherence and oversight across the relevant government ministries. These are the measures we have been implementing in recent years, but we are now moving to a new phase in our bioeconomy. And today I'm very pleased to share with you here today that our government has just approved a new national bioeconomy action plan for the period 2023 to 2025. This is a first for us in Ireland and will build sustainability on our previous policy statement. The process to develop the plan has followed a robust evidence-based approach with strong stakeholder input. The action plan identifies 33 actions across 7 pillars, with the overall ambition of accelerating the development of the bioeconomy over the coming 3 years. The plan has a strong focus on international collaboration and seeks to harness EU, FAO and global developments to speed up the innovation and knowledge, while also recognising the global impact of the bioeconomy in relation to areas such as trade and science and innovation. This is one of the key reasons Ireland has invested in the FAO Global Bioeconomy Alliance Scoping Study project, examining the need for a global bioeconomy network of networks. We are delighted with the progress being made to date on this, and we look forward to hearing of the outcomes of this study in due course. So to conclude, ladies and gentlemen, I'm very strongly of the view that the bioeconomy can indeed be a catalyst for agri-food systems transformation. What I have outlined to you today is the road we have been on to set up the policy, oversight, framework and innovation support to get the bioeconomy off the ground. Because of its cross-cutting nature, this can be challenging. But I hope that some of the steps we have taken in Ireland might help inspire you in mobilising your own bioeconomies. Because the prize here is great. New economic opportunities for our farmers and rural dwellers, contributing to mitigating agricultural impact on climate, restoring biodiversity, reusing waste and side streams in a circular, regenerative fashion, creating new employment, offering consumers more sustainable bio-based products instead of those generated from fossil fuels. These are no longer lofty ambitions to be realised at some distant point in the future. They are achievable now, and there is an onus on us to make sure that this happens. Working together, learning from each other, supporting our joint efforts. This is where the FAO can play a leading role, and I commend the Director General and his team for all he is doing to advance our global bioeconomy. Ireland will remain a committed partner with the FAO in this, and I want to thank you once again for giving me the opportunity to address today. I look forward to engaging with you all in the future. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for sharing this innovative, comprehensive Irish bioeconomy strategy, a role model for many, and for waving with your just released new strategic document. The integration across government, I think, is very important, and I'm sure it bodes well within the overall strategies of the European Union on bioeconomy. So thank you, Minister Hackett. Next, I call on the National Strategy for Bioeconomy, Ministry of Environment and Climate Change, Brazil, Secretary Karina Pimenta. You are just out of the Amazon Summit. I didn't say suffered through it. You played a key role. It must have been a huge task. And I'm very pleased that you're here. Please brief us on the Brazilian perspective and touch on what are the plans for G20 from Brazil being in the lead. Please take the floor.
Good afternoon to you all. Very pleased to be here and be addressing this forum with such a group of experts and interested people on the development of bioeconomy. I greet all the panelists on behalf of Mr. Joachim von Braun and all the members of this audience, authorities, and the other presents. For me, it's a great honor to be here and to give a glimpse of the Brazilian experience and contextualize this on the Amazonian perspective group and on G20 discussions. The Brazilian approach to structuring a national policy has the ambition to conserving and restoring our nature capital, showing that our standing forest has more value than the deforested land, and delivering a new cycle of prosperity of social inclusion. These are values that we share with most of our Amazonian colleagues from countries that look into our Amazonian richness and wealth and think about the ways the bioeconomy can support the sustainable use of our biodiversity. Brazil has created many policies over the years, over the decades, that connect to what we call bioeconomy today, in the social biodiversity, in biofuels, and many other experiences in agriculture. But now, for us, it's the first time that we are creating a framework for a national policy that sustain and will redirect investments and policies to address the needs and the opportunities that bioeconomy brings to us. And this is a transversal approach that we are developing in the government across the different ministries and across the different regions that have vocational and opportunities across the different biomes that we have. The debate on bioeconomy comes in a very timely manner, as we have seen very complex challenges, such as climate change, as poverty, as hunger, the growing demand for natural resources, and the biodiversity loss that comes along with it. The best science and evidence available shows to us, decision makers, that the window of opportunity to reach the Paris Agreement targets is rapidly closing, and we have to move fast. In Brazil, since the first day of President Lula's government, we state our unequivocal commitment to the global effort on protecting the environment, on fighting climate change, and on promoting food security and the social biodiversity of our country. These are pillars of our cross-cutting policies that we are developing. Within this context, we must step up with our global efforts to tackle climate change. In Brazil, we have a very important commitment to all the global countries, which is to zero deforestation by 2030. And we are already seeing the first results this year. From January to September, we reduced in 48% the deforestation in the Amazon. And this represents more than 200 million tons of CO2 equivalent not thrown to the atmosphere. This is just the start, and it's a lot of work for us to do, and this is our homework as a country, our commitment to the world. These positive results are linked to the decision-making of Lula's president government to implement a cross-cutting and integrated environmental and climate policy. This also reflects an important reconstruction and strengthening of our mandate and action on environmental and territorial inspection and management bodies. This is very important for us, command and control in Brazil, to reduce deforestation. But this alone will not solve our other problems. And we have even more complex tasks at hand. There is no alternative for us than pursuing an urgent and effective transition to sustainable development model. But to achieve this goal, we must increasingly have a vision from public and business policy that is more prospective than reactive. Within this context, the ecological transition plan that has been recently launched by the Brazilian government, it's a framework coordinated by the Ministry of Finance, who shows a very important commitment to reach our environmental goals, and demonstrates our long-term commitments to economic transformation alongside with preservation of the environment. This initiative consolidates the Brazil vision for future growth in social inclusion and environmental conservation. It builds on the assumption that while this transformation has been already happening, the speed and scale that we need is far from ideal. We must break the inertia of our results achieved so far and increasingly lay out our plans based on the best science and evidence available. Our ecological transformation plan is based on a series of different measures, which include the provision of economic incentives and sustainable finance, and many other actions that are taking on this field. Densification of our production system and development of our national industry. It also encompasses the energy transition in Brazil and the circular economy, the new infrastructure that we need and require of public services for climate adaptation that is reaching out to us every week, as you see in the news, as you see in the lives of all our fellow Brazilians. And last but not least, the main topic of my addressing today, the development of bioeconomy in Brazil. So for us, bioeconomy, as we all know, it's not a concept. It's not a unique nor internationally agreed, and I'm not sure if we'll ever reach that. But I know we can reach a framework to work with, considering the different aspects of countries, of biodiversity, of aspects that are under review here and in many forums. For Brazil, bioeconomy can be understood as a model for social and economic development. It's fair and ethical and should be built on these principles to generate products, processes, and services with respect to the people that owns the knowledge and develop the sustainable use of biological resources, and for us, in particular, our native biodiversity. Among the central elements of the Brazil vision of bioeconomy, some aspects should be highlighted. The first, for us, is the emphasis on biodiversity as a tipping point on our economic model. The bioeconomy in Brazil, in a mega diverse country as we are, represents a great opportunity and a great risk to create an economic development model based on sustainable use of our major biodiversity assets. Our vision for bioeconomy is firmly grounded on the principles that the use of biodiversity must respect the limits and supporting capacities of our ecosystems. In other words, the possibilities and limits of sustainable production systems must be fully incorporated and respected. And this, for us, is a very important piece on agri-food systems transformation. How to engage with the sustainable production systems and ensure that our ecosystems are preserved. This is particularly important to reduce the pressures for us on land use that will ultimately result in increasing carbon emissions and further jeopardize our climate stability, with the opposite from what a bioeconomy shall pursue in the first place. Providing healthy and sustainable food to our population is one of the major uses of our biodiversity and a main asset to ensure food security and nutrition. There's a diversity of products, special proteins and local ingredients, and a culture based on food consumption. There are examples of our potential these are all examples of our potential to diversify and enrich our agri-food systems and people's nutrition through bioeconomy. In addition, we have records of more than 16,000 products that use our genetic heritage and associated traditional knowledge with multiple uses on healthy food, biochemical, cosmetics, and in particular in the health sector. This is not only a powerful public policy database, but also a tribute to our social, environmental, and cultural heritage and diversity. I emphasize that in Brazil, the basis for bioeconomy is one of the most important and innovative legislations on the access of genetic heritage and benefit sharing. This is one of the central aspects for Brazilian experience. The rules for access and use are clearly established. Our goal here is to expand the incentives for more research and products to emerge through transparent and reliable regulatory environment, which also recognizes that knowledge from those people who own this ancestral and traditional knowledge. Another second aspect that I would like to highlight about our vision for bioeconomy is the emphasis on social biodiversity. And the great opportunity that has to leverage the economic and social inclusions and opportunities for traditional people, indigenous peoples and communities, quilombola communities, and family farmers. For instance, the production of food, vegetable oils, fibers, medicine herbs, and other many products rely on these groups to be able to be available in market value chains and value chains. And these are originated from the social biodiversity and can be catalytic for the promotion of the environment, protection of the environment, and the strengthening of our local territories and communities. In this sense, we cannot forget that these people that are in the bottom of the value chains are also those who are protecting and maintaining our forests with their bodies, with their thinking, with their knowledge. In fact, 8% of the protected areas in the world, in different regions of the world, are under the control of indigenous and traditional people and communities. There is no other way to bioeconomy to be catalytic for protection if these are not the people who should benefit the most from it. Ladies and gentlemen, while our vision is deeply grounded in the pillars of biodiversity and social biodiversity, there are other critical elements that will make sure that the policy is effective and generate the aims and the goals and the aspirations that move us to. We must associate scientific knowledge and traditional knowledge, generating innovation and technologies on several fronts. And there is a huge gap between science and traditional knowledge that must be bridged if we want this to really generate benefits and social inclusion, creating the grounds for mutual cooperation between different sectors, but based this cooperation on mutual respect and respect for the knowledge and the science together. Furthermore, we have to acknowledge that bioeconomy is formed from a wide range of players, including associations and cooperatives and other collective enterprises, small and medium-sized businesses and companies and startups, and the sector of bioindustries, which have more intensive use of biotechnology. There is no one-fits-all solution to develop all these value chains with all these opportunities. We must have multiple bioeconomies to be promoted and very specific instruments for each of these groups to be able to be effective. Especially when we talk about funding, investment, and finance, we have to be very specific on the distribution channels and the maturity of this business and the long-term investment that is required for the science and technology be translated into innovations, both in technological side and social innovations, that will move these value chains up in the markets. We must diversify our instruments to support these enterprises. And we have to enable regional ecosystems, we call hubs of bioeconomy, in order to be able to have these policies reaching out to the regions and work closely to the businesses that are created, to the origins of the raw materials, and all the science and technology and jobs that can be created in the local and regional areas. It is essential for us to stimulate also a new generation of professionals and technicians in bioeconomy, thus creating an opportunity not only for a new cycle of green jobs, but more importantly for us, the inclusion of young people and women, and in a new important cycle of prosperity. We also, in terms of finance, we also look beyond the carbon markets as a source and understand that the variety of environmental services that are a piece of our strategy and these value chains should be delivering conservation and restoration of these ecosystems while creating these competitive products and markets. And this, for us, is an intertwined process. To this end, it's necessary to develop new markets for these assets, products, and services. And we need to be able to differentiate a product that's sustainably produced from others. We need to differentiate the food that is healthy and sustainable from the others. And we have to be able to do that in order to incentivize and create a virtuous cycle of development. They also must be valued not only from the economic aspect, as most of our underlook is there, but from the social, environmental, and cultural values they retain. This is a consumption change that we have seen, but not enough in the world. In order to expand the potential of growth of bioeconomy, we must act on these both ends, both supply and demand. To conclude today, I hope this opportunity will have to discuss the development of bioeconomy as a catalyst and inspiring effect on our own creation of policy making. We need to invite more people in different sectors to join this discussion: civil society, business people, academics, national governments, and international organizations. These are all stakeholders that are building the national policy in Brazil and that can build this on the international sphere. And as Brazil heads to the presidency of G20, starting this next December, let me reaffirm the commitments to encourage and nurture this debate on this important forum. We are proposing a cross-cutting initiative on bioeconomy under the G20 framework, and we count on all of you to join this process and contribute to the construction of guidelines and high-level principles to the development of bioeconomy, the bioeconomies of the world in a global level. Thank you very much for the opportunity to address you today, and I hope that we have a very cooperative interaction with FAO and all of you in the future. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Well, ladies and gentlemen, you heard an invitation, or is it a challenge to contribute to the G20 process spearheaded by Brazil? There was already, many of you will know, a bioeconomy statement for the first time for the G20 led by India. So it's a dynamic process, and I think it's very good. It's also very good that you deepened our agenda today. Biodiversity is one of the two pillars of bioeconomy, biodiversity and science. And you broadened it, food, agriculture, and health. So thank you for that. Now I would like to call on Professor Christine Lang. Christine is a pioneer and leader in bioeconomy, played key roles in the 3 bioeconomy summits since 2015, is co-chair of the International Advisory Council on Global Bioeconomy. Christine, give us your lecture, please.
Yeah, thank you very much, and I'm very happy to be here. Thank you for inviting me to this. I'd like to give kind of a view on the, let's say, more technical view, but I quote my talk towards transformation, the impact of sustainable bioeconomy, and when I said transformation, this means everything. We have to change, some things have to change, no transformation without any change. Now, my starting, I hope that works now. Yeah. My starting slide is something that I probably don't need to say in here, because what is bioeconomy? And I'm very happy that Director General brought up the definition of bioeconomy that comes very close to what we are saying, that bioeconomy is something that is sustainable production and use. It does come with providing products and importantly in all economic sectors. And I add to this, bioeconomy is a key element in transforming the economy and meeting climate change and other challenges. Keeping that in mind, I'm trying to go through with you in a few minutes what is bioeconomy in examples, what is driving the impact, and what is the key demands that come out of it and what we are going to follow up. Now, if you remember anything from my talk now, I would say this slide is something I would like you to just take into your mind, because this is what it is. Bioeconomy has a broad agenda. And I'm very happy that Director General he did my talk. I mean, this is what I was going to say, and I really repeat this. It's not just, it is food, it's agriculture and forestry, and that is very important at the basis. But we have to take into account that bioeconomy now reaches out in a lot of sectors, and I just put in some, and let's go in materials. What I mean is, you already have materials that are not fossil-based, but that are bio-based, and they are really in the industry, and they are in our daily lives. I've heard that the Youth Forum has had a fashion show with sustainable and bio-based materials. So you see, it can be there, it is there, but there are a lot of other things that are materials. Let's go construction. You say, what that? Well, it's not just wood. It's also something, I could talk about this for hours probably, so you have to stop me at some point. For example, that you can use bacteria, microorganisms to have a self-healing concrete, or you can have ground coffee beets, spent coffee beets to be used instead of sand in concrete. But you also see that there is the green factor in this construction. So we see a lot of bioeconomy in construction area. Chemical industry, this is kind of my background, and the chemical industry is heavily relying on fossil carbon. But they also understand and have understood that bio-based carbon, biomass is the next thing. And if not, because the financial markets are asking for transformation of the industry. So we see a lot of that. And finally, this is a topic, bioscience, and I put in some biohealth, so pharmaceutical aspects. This is also something that is part of bioeconomy. I'm aware that the official definitions of bioeconomy do not always have this, but I really advocate to also have this in there. The top 10 pharmaceuticals are biopharmaceuticals, and Director General reminded us that vaccination is a bio-based business. So keep this in mind, and if you, just as I said, if you don't want to remember anything, just this would be great if you talk of bioeconomy as a broad agenda. Now, I'd like to go into some drivers of change, and I have 4 points on that. My first is, what we see at the moment is wonderful and beautiful and very important impact from regional and local value networks and value chains. So that is where change and transformation is coming, from the kind of bottom up. It needs international cooperation, and of course we are here in a forum now that especially is giving us this. So let us work on this. We need the thing coming up from bottom up, but we also need the international cooperation. Second driver, that's industry. And why is it? Because industry, as I just said, has some desire, let's say, to defossilize. They understand that that is necessary. It has something to do with taxes, and it has something to do with supply, but it also has something to do with acceptance. And we see more and more industry going into producing products, but also using biomass, waste biomass, for a lot of other things. So that's the second driver. The third driver is us. It's society, and then that gives us the challenge. Society can also be the one that is the braking, it's the brakes, but it also is the motivation as we go on. Because what we see is that society is asking for sustainability. They're asking for new products. We are all changing our mobility. We are changing our way how the nutrition is built. In Germany, we have now 10% of people calling themselves vegan or vegetarian, and this is increasing. So we change our way of how we see the world, because we understand that as we go on, we don't want to go on. We want to be fossil-free, for example. So this is, keep this in mind, the demand side of bioeconomy is a clear driver. And my fourth suggestion of a driver is the global agenda. We see this, and we just heard this, it's the G20, it's like Brazil does it, put it on an agenda in the global can. It's this community putting it on a global agenda, and this is what drives bioeconomy. It's becoming visible, it's becoming clear what there is, and we also all, I think, should work on that we get this done and get it on the agenda. Now, having said this, this is also global strategies that we need to follow up. And one of our main tasks with the International Advisory Council in Global Bioeconomy is to look for this conference, which we called Global Bioeconomy Summit, and I put here in 3 summits that were there. The last one during COVID times was a virtual one. And we're now working to revitalize this and get it back on track and get it back to other parts of the world. So this is one of the very important things that brings together science, society, politicians, and private sector. And I think this is something where we hope to see next year again. Up to that, you see that there are some papers done on that. We are not doing nothing in between. So I just, you may have seen this. This was distributed below. This is one of the intermediate, let's say, interim statements between the summits. And what we call it is One Planet Bioeconomy Solutions for Global Challenges. And that's what we think what bioeconomy is for. And this is my last slide. I just want to show you what are the main action plans and what is the main things that have to be done on the global scale, putting it on a global scale. So, as I said, make bioeconomy an integral part of sustainable development and resilience building economic strategy. So putting bioeconomy on the global agenda. Whoever is able to do so, please think about it and try to put it there. I think that is one of the ways to make bioeconomy a global event. We will also see that some other sectors need the support and need to go into bioeconomy. So we probably see more actions on this and getting it into energy and construction sectors and trade policies, which is very important when we think in the global level. We need to expand science innovation, and this has to be done in a cooperation between public and private sectors to get it there. But this is science-driven, knowledge-driven is something that we should not forget. This is what drives innovation at the end. The last ones are pointing at the society, at us. So we need the citizens to do something. There are a lot of nice and interesting, good projects to make bioeconomy known to citizens, and we need to get that. And youth participation, which we have seen here already in the forum, but also in the IC, we have a youth group, and we've learned a lot of things just asking young people, and not just us old people, what is the way bioeconomy is to do. So this is what I would like to have you to consider about, and I thank you very much for listening to me.
Thanks a lot. Well, colleagues, this was the high-level panel. We are about to say goodbye to you. Thank you for your contributions. If you can stay, you will not miss an exciting lineup, an international lineup of bioeconomy experts who will follow without interruptions. You are busy people. If you have to go elsewhere, you are excused. So thank you again.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I just got my pen.
Yeah. Do you have to leave? Daniel, would you come up? Yeah, you want? Daniel Vargas will see you. Colleagues, as we are changing, please, panelists, walk up here. He will wait for you downstairs. As we are waiting for the panelists to step up here, please, colleagues, you know what your roles are. Take your seats. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. While they take their seat, I see a lot of young people here in the room, not only relative to me, but in absolute terms. I was asked by a young researcher in passing this morning, who actually is in the room, what can I, as an aspiring young economist, do to help change diets and foster the bioeconomy? Well, you have gotten a lot of food for thought from the speakers, and there will be more now. A key topic is how can we overcome the indirect external negative effects of the food and economic systems. So That is a task for science, and systems thinking is a task for you. Now I am very pleased to have all, if you forgive me, ducks in a row. And we are also hoping to get a colleague from Kenya, Julius Ekuru, on the screen, who couldn't make it because of airplane problems. First, I welcome you, Greg Jaffe, Senior Advisor, Office of the Secretary in the US Department of Agriculture. Your background is Juris Doctor from the Harvard Law School. You said you prefer to stand when speaking. You are welcome to do, as a lawyer. Your background is in biotech. You have worked with the center, you have led the Center for Science in the Public Interest. So you are deeply involved in bioeconomy. Please take the floor from here or from there.
Okay. Thank you very much, Joachim. I'm here representing the U.S. government and in particular U.S. Department of Agriculture. And I'll start off by saying the USDA, the federal government, supports the development of a strong U.S. bioeconomy. It can create revenue streams for agricultural producers and ensure that wealth and other economic benefits, such as jobs, stay in rural communities and help their economies. It can build resilience. It can transform our food systems, and it can help with supply chain issues. We can harness the carbon cycle and use organic matter in so many ways. We can grow commodities to create feedstocks. We can use waste materials, corn stover, low-value forest material, food waste. We also can address environmental challenges by making agriculture more sustainable and address climate change. Bioeconomy can help us achieve increased agricultural productivity, creating more with less by increasing yields, producing more on the same land, and producing the same amounts with less environmental impact. We have done this in the U.S. For example, we have produced billions of gallons of biofuel over the last 10 years without significantly increasing the land use we use for agriculture. It has been achieved with increased yields, double cropping, and using marginal lands. A big policy advancement I'd like to tell you about was on September 12, 2022, President Biden issued an executive order on biotechnology and biomanufacturing for the bioeconomy. That executive order established a whole-of-government approach for advancing biotechnology and biomanufacturing towards innovative solutions in health, climate change, energy, food security, agriculture, supply chain resilience, and national and economic security. That executive order discusses issues such as bolstering federal investment in research and development, improving the biomass supply chain, expanding biomanufacturing capacity, investing in workforce development, and improving the regulatory and policy environment, among other things. It's 1 year later, and we already have so much to showcase under this executive order. We issued a bold gold report on research and development priorities. I'm just going to focus on food and agriculture, and that report included 3 themes: improving sustainability while increasing productivity, which discussed reducing food waste, reducing nitrogen and methane emissions, among other things; increasing food nutrition, quality, and consumer choice, which mentioned developing new food and feed sources, such as alternate proteins and cell-cultured meats; and protecting plants and animals from environmental stresses, adapting to climate change. There's been a report on workforce development, which I recommend you all look at. How do we build that workforce that we're going to need for the bioeconomy, the right people with the right skills? In the future, my agency will be coming out with a biomass supply chain resilience report to talk about how do we build that biomass supply chain from the source all the way through to the consumer product. In the last couple of minutes, I'd like to give some examples of the work carried out this past year to support the bioeconomy at the U.S. Department of Agriculture. On the research and development side, we've invested more than $500 million this past year. Some projects include research to increase photosynthesis, use of gene editing to make plants more productive and more resilient, developing methods to turn vegetable oil into bio-based personal care products, developing crops such as camelina and pennycress for biofuels to be grown as cover crops. As an example, one project works to convert food waste into biodegradable bioplastics that can be used for a variety of consumer plastics, including affordable and rigid packaging for food and beverages. USDA is also involved in investing in biomanufacturing, product development, and working with private industry. For example, we invested over $100 million last year in innovation, biomanufacturing capacity, and new markets for using wood in a sustainable way. We've invested in biogas production, as well as new ways of having fertilizers made from biological waste. Finally, USDA also promotes the purchase of bio-based products. I think there was discussion there in the last talk about the consumer and that building that demand. We have a federal procurement program for bio-based products, so we bring that buying power of the federal government to the marketplace. And a federal government-operated voluntary bio-based labeling system, so companies can market their bio-based products for consumers who want to buy them. We even had a National Bio-Based Products Day this past April. So in conclusion, the United States wants a circular agriculture and a food economy with many different opportunities for farmers and a production system that's sustainable. The bioeconomy will play an important role in achieving those objectives. It's helping us in the United States have a new agri-food system transformation. Thank you.
Great. Thank you very much. It's impressive how much action a year after the executive order was issued. Next, I turn to you, Julius. Julius Ekuru, who is here on Zoom, is manager Bioinnovate Africa, and he is a co-chair of the International Advisory Council on Global Bioeconomy. Julius, your 5 minutes, please.
Okay, thank you so much, Joachim. Allow me to thank you and also the FAO for inviting me to this forum. I'm very sorry that I could not come with you or be with you there in person because of cancellation of my flights. But I just returned from Burundi. Burundi is one of the countries in our East African community, where we, for the last 3 days, we were discussing bioeconomy strategies, or the need for national bioeconomy strategies as a pathway for future economic growth and development, both in Burundi and also in Eastern Africa. And in that meeting or series of events we had, it was agreed that Burundi will develop its own national bioeconomy strategy based on a regional bioeconomy strategy for Eastern Africa that was developed and approved last year. So this makes Burundi one of the 4 countries now that is nationalizing this strategy. So I say this because we consider it a success story, illustrating how regional bioeconomy strategies can help individual member states or countries to have their own national strategies based on their unique needs and aspirations. And of course, Joachim, you remember in one of our regional meetings, you did also challenge us that now that we have a regional strategy for East Africa, and by the way, which makes it the only one in Africa, the only region in Africa with a strategy, and the second globally after the EU, you challenged us to now also look at a continental bioeconomy roadmap, and that's what we are working on. But I do mention this because in advancing the East African bioeconomy, we drew a lot of inspiration from the Global Bioeconomy Summits, especially those of 2018 and 2020 that Christine Lang just informed us about. So we look at this Global Bioeconomy Summit, or this type of convening, as an important way to help us conceptually clarify what bioeconomy is, but also as a mechanism for bioeconomy policy learning and collaborations. So we are making good progress here in Eastern Africa, and we have now applied to the International Advisory Council on the Global Bioeconomy to host the next GBS 2024 here in East Africa, in Kenya specifically. We think that if given the opportunity, this will greatly boost our bioeconomy efforts and strengthen our collaboration with global bioeconomy initiatives globally. Now, in an economy such as East Africa, where food and agriculture and food systems contribute up to 35% of our gross domestic product, bioeconomy is seen as a catalyst to transform our food systems. And in our strategy that we have now for Eastern Africa, we are focusing on sustainable agriculture and food systems. Is actually our theme number one. And the others are health and well-being. And then we're also looking at sustainable energy and sustainable industrialization. But from, for the context of our meeting today, we are looking, at this from both the production side and the consumption side. From the production side, we are looking at improving soil organic matter. We are also looking at controlling soil pests like nematodes. We are also investing a little bit on improving soil microbes like rhizobia and mycorrhiza in the soil. And then we're putting a lot of effort on developing biopesticides for pest control. And of course, one of the exciting areas for us is using insects as decomposers to produce both biofertilizers, but also animal protein. And if you flip the other side, we're also looking at edible insects for food. So those are key areas. But from the consumption side, we're looking at mostly value addition to agro-produce. And we look at this as an opportunity to bridge the rural-urban divide. We do have a lot of urbanization is happening rapidly at about 10% in our region annually. And we need to improve both the rural economy and the emerging urban economy. So value addition to our agro-produce is absolutely essential. We do also focus a lot on indigenous knowledge and how we can use science to validate some of the claims and make products that are safer and also more efficacious. And then lastly, we are looking at bio-waste conversion and looking at the whole area of green environment and green chemicals. So we think that using the bioeconomy approach to help us to develop sustainable value chains across some of the essential commodities that we have in the region. So lastly, Joachim, I want to say that our bioeconomy strategy is giving us a lot of inspiration and creating more opportunities for innovation collaboration. It's creating also opportunities for investment, and it is also serving as a mechanism for us to cooperate with other initiatives like in Latin America, in Asia, in Europe, and around the world. So thank you very much, and I look forward to addressing any questions that come.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Julius. A special thanks that you are converting our hearing here into a business meeting, announcing that you are planning to host the next Global Bioeconomy Summit in Nairobi. Those of you in the audience who have money in their pockets, in their institutions, support that pledge. I'm sure it will be welcome. Thank you very much. I would like to turn to Ruiyan Wang, director of Bloomage Biotech and R&D Center from China. Ruyan Wang, we are very pleased to have you here, knowing that China has also made another leap forward, great leap forward into bioeconomy with a new strategy last year. You have the floor, please.
Yeah, thank you very much. Actually, I'm the one from the private sector. I have a different view maybe for the bioeconomy in China, but at the beginning, I like to deliver the information about the bioeconomy strategy in China. Actually, the bioeconomy has become one of the pillar industries in China during the past decades. And the Chinese government had a series of policies about the bioindustry during the past more than 20 years. Last year, one important strategic policy named the 14th five-year plan for bioeconomy development was announced. And it is quite exciting also for the industry as what we are in. That new policy defined the bioeconomy as basing on protecting, developing, or utilizing the bioresources to advance the life science and technology, aiming to create a blueprint for sustainable development of human being. And it outlines the development goal of the bioeconomy in China measured in 4 fields. The first one is biomedicine and pharmaceutical, and the second is bioagriculture, and the third is biomanufacturing, which is what I major in, and the fourth is biosecurity. And we had several roles to achieve these goals. Commonly, of course, the innovation, especially the biotech innovation, is very important. And the second is the industrial development. And the third, I guess, is the government policy support and also the global collaborations. Actually, I want to deliver more information about the innovation in this bioeconomy strategy. Globally, there are 2 driving forces behind the bioeconomy development. One is from the technical supply side. Another one is from the society demand. Actually, in China, with the big population, we have a big market for the generating the social demand. But on the other side, we need advanced technology to access the transformation from innovation to our industry. So the advanced technologies such as the synthetic biology, which is a technology can exchanging the existing biological system or redesign the system for useful purpose, showed the comprehensive science and technology innovation in bioeconomy. Especially, it's at the heart of the bioeconomy system in the previous 4 fields. So using this advanced technology, we can produce the high-value products such as protein, enzyme, bioplasmic, or the other bioactive products using microorganism or some other bio-based resources with a higher yield, higher quality, and the green characteristic and lower cost. So comparing to the extraction from the fossil. So, the Chinese government and the entrepreneurs or the enterprise, they work together hand in hand, using all this advanced technology to transfer the innovation to the industry for the bioeconomy development and for the low carbon development or the high quality development in China. Okay.
Thank you very much. It's exciting to see how the superpowers embrace bioeconomy. Thank you very much. Our next speaker is Varinton Songkasiri from Thailand. Thailand was an early player, reaching out with its bioeconomy initiatives into all of ASEAN. You have the floor, please.
Thank you very much. It's an honor for me to be here. I would like to provide you the example of Thailand. The Thai government promoted the BCG, Bio-Circular Green Economy Model, as the fundamental economy model for now. And with that, all the ministry, the government agencies need to be incorporate the model into their policy and strategies. Recently at COP26 also, Thailand declared that we will reach the carbon neutrality by 2050 also. I would like to focus that we emphasize, prioritize the 4 main industries for our BCG economy model. First is agriculture and food. Second is medical and wellness. Third is bioenergy, biomaterial, and biochemicals. And fourth is tourism and creative economy. So those are the 4 prioritized industries here. And since you mentioned that we are quite promote the bioeconomy quite early, our first key milestone for the bioeconomy promotion is the establishment of the National Center for Genetic Engineering and Biotechnology, or Biotech, which I belong to. It's under the Ministry of Science and Technology then. So we create knowledge and innovations on biotechnology, which is based for the bioeconomy concept currently. Now I would like to provide one example in the cassava starch industry. Cassava or tapioca is the same thing here. So we have the Sustainable Cassava Starch Program, which initiated by the private sector, the Thai Association, the Thai Tapioca Starch Association, and the Research Institute, with us, and several partners in universities, and then also government agencies here. With the program, we declare that we will reach carbon neutrality in 2050 as well, but we will reduce half of the greenhouse gas emission in 2030. In the cassava starch industry, agriculture sector, and also starch manufacturing sector, released approximately 2.17 million ton carbon dioxide equivalent per year last year. So we will reduce that. In several sectors, for example, in the agricultural sector, we will use the GAP, Good Agricultural Practice, Carbon Credit Plus program. Under the Ministry of Agriculture, we will use the optimization of chemical use program, fertilizer programs for the reduction. For the starch manufacturing sector, we will increase the production efficiency and also reduce the resource and energy use, so those will reduce the greenhouse gas emission as well. And another project is using wastewater and solid waste of cassava bagasse, cassava pulp, to produce biogas, which is the renewable energy here. And the factory can use those biogas for heat or electricity generation. And also we have the other sector that use cassava root itself or cassava starch to produce higher value products, such as flour for bakery, such as biomaterial, cellulosic material, cellulose, micro, nanocellulose, or even we use cassava leaf for food for the silk worm. And they're producing silk, and you can use those in as the biomaterial here, which is very interesting. Let me tell you that. And at the national level, we create let's say, the entity that working together, like I said, the industry, research institute, university, as the cassava center here. And you can follow us on the website, sustainablecassava.org. For the youth leaders, you can follow us on Facebook as well, in ASEAN Cassava Center here. And in our entirety, we would like to be the middleman that also matching innovation, knowledge, and everything else to all the stakeholders, all the players in the cassava starch industry. We will provide 3 pillars as the framework. The first one is knowledge dissemination. We provide curriculum for agricultural sector, for starch manufacturing sector, waste treatment sector, and for example, bioethanol production curriculum for both industrial farmers and also trainers as well. And for the second pillar, it would be technological innovation. And we collect the stakeholder forum, what the industry innovate, what the research institute innovate, and also the government agency, what they innovate there. And the last pillar would be the solution provider. So we would like to be the integrator, the solution integrators, to give the consultancy services for the industry, for the farmer, and also for the policymaker as well. So those are at the national level that we are working on. With the support from several international agencies, UNIDO, also GIZ, German International Corporation, the Mekong, Republic of Korea Cooperation Fund, Mekong Lan Chang Special Fund, we expand our work into the neighboring country in the region to Cambodia, Laos, PDR, Vietnam, Myanmar as well, and also Thailand and also China. We work in this cassava starch value chain. The first one is agricultural sector, second one is starch production one, waste treatment and high value product. So with our work, we are trying to disseminate the knowledge, disseminate the innovation, and also capacity building to build the trainers and also the consultants in the regions. So now we are very welcome you if you would like to be partner with us in different continents as well. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And another standing innovation for partnership. Isabella Garcia Cafaro, you are a youth champion on bioeconomy from Guatemala.
Yes.
Your 5 minutes.
Thank you. Well, as Joachim said, I'm here representing youth. So my name is Isabella, and I live in a beautiful developing country in Central America called Guatemala. And since I was a little girl, my dream was to help heal the planet. A few years ago, I started collaborating with industry in an R&D project that uses biotechnology as a tool to improve agricultural production. But it wasn't until months later that I realized that I was contributing to my country's bioeconomy. Driven by this realization, I joined the Youth Ambassador Program from the International Advisory Council on Global Bioeconomy, with the dream of raising awareness of the importance of the potential of bioeconomy, but especially the potential in Latin America. We routinely conduct various regional workshops. Through these, we have gained a global perspective on youth involvement in bioeconomy and have sadly come to realize that our youth faces unparalleled challenges. And these challenges are when trying to become an active part of this bioeconomy, let's say, like very small circle, right? As youth leaders, we're committing to lowering that barrier. One of our first steps in that direction is conducting our first bioeconomy survey, which seeks to identify and address worldwide gaps in youth involvement. However, this is but a step towards creating a more inclusive and diverse environment in bioeconomy. In order to effectively lower these barriers, we must first ensure that the concept is well disseminated. We have experienced firsthand that bioeconomy is not commonly taught in the educational systems. It is And it is a field deeply connected to the social, natural, and political sciences, and hence central to any society. We strongly believe the concept of bioeconomy should be introduced in high school to be expanded upon during university-level programs. Furthermore, we have noticed that the small percentage of youth that is actually aware of bioeconomy and interested in joining our field faces financial problems when trying to become an active part of the community. Their participation in high-profile events and forums such as this one is key to achieving an inclusive environment, and a lack of funding should not be the limiting factor. It is important to provide the youth with avenues of growth. Therefore, we propose to create a global bioeconomy mentoring program where today's leaders and youth can develop skills and new perspectives together. We firmly believe the challenges we're facing today are further aggravated by the lack of youth's involvement in policymaking. We believe that our group can help. Because we're well connected all over the world, we can put you in contact with young professionals that will be happy to participate in the formulation or actualization of your country's bioeconomy strategy. If you ever find yourself seeking to address one of these challenges, let's partner up. We're always eager to find solutions. Together, we can create a strong network, positioning bioeconomy as a known term and allowing youth to have more representation and access to opportunities. If you now feel that you share our vision and are still less than 38 years old, please join us. We're always looking for enthusiastic youth. If you're older than 38 years old, don't worry. You can still help us by sharing the information and participating in our mentoring program. Thank you. And remember, youth's involvement in bioeconomy is highly important. It is in that youth that we will find our future leaders and decision makers.
Thank you, Isabella Garcia Cafaro. Bioeconomy is intergenerational. Ross Hampton, Executive Director, International Sustainable Forestry Coalition. You have the floor.
Thank you, Professor. And it's energizing to sit next to Isabella. It's a very good introduction. And before I want to use some of my couple of minutes was really just to thank our representative from Brazil, because I know everyone wanted to clap and they didn't get a chance. Halting deforestation by 2030, almost a 50% year-on-year reduction. It's got to deserve a round of applause. Because this is mission critical. If we pass certain tipping points, then whatever we do in the pivot to the circular bioeconomy becomes rather academic. And a professor said this to us all on a call a couple of weeks ago, that this is, I don't think you used the words mission critical, but you were explaining to us that the undertaking of getting this right is absolutely fundamental to what we need to do to save the planet. It's quite good to be at the end of such a learned group of speakers, the panel before and now the ones we've just heard. But really, let's bring it down to what's really in people's heads. We can see all over the world just what a crisis this is and how quickly we need to move. If you take the built environment, for example, we're going to urbanise at the rate of the size of the city of Paris every year for the next 20 or 30 years. The building stock, if it doesn't change to more bio stock, as Professor Schönenhalber would tell you, will be twice the world's carbon budget. Or if we take plastics by 2050 in the ocean will outweigh the fish. So the plastic in the ocean is going to outweigh the fish. If you laid it on the map of the world, if you laid it would cover more than Spain. These are just a couple of examples. I mean, if you look at textiles, you probably wondered why I had a shoe up here. Who got to the youth event yesterday and saw the wonderful, I think it was Vegia display? A few people got there. If you didn't get there, they had these. This isn't one of them. I picked this up in London 2 days ago to show you. This is made from sustainable forestry wood chip, but they had a whole range of products made from vegetable matter and indeed from wood chip as well. You know, textiles are bigger in terms of their climate impact than shipping and aviation combined. But speaking of aviation, we heard from the US, they're moving to 100% sustainable aviation fuels. At the moment, we're on 0.05%. all of this pivot to the bioeconomy has got to come from somewhere. And I'm from forestry, I should say, because it wasn't really clear in the beginning. So let me quickly introduce myself, having scared you, and then I'll explain why it shouldn't scare you. We do have answers. So as well as looking after an international grouping of the largest, some of the largest forestry companies in the world, I'm here because for 10 years or so I've been with FAO on our wonderful 60-year-old plus committee that advises FAO on private sector involvement in some of these sustainability issues, the ACSFI. And a couple of years ago, the ACSFI identified the bioeconomy as a really key part of the work plan. We're delighted that it's in the PPAs now. So in chairing that role, we bring to the FAO a range of private sector inputs. And so what we've been trying to do is involve forestry in the agri-food systems in a positive way. And again, to come back to not scaring you about the scale of the challenge, what we're finding around the world and what we're talking to FAO about is how we can have our cake and eat it too. How it is possible to have the best of all these worlds. You've heard a couple of examples today, and the professor asked me to give you one from Australia. So in Australia, we know of a very large farm that does a lot of sheep, has about 5,000 sheep. And he made the bold, the farmer, he and she, made the bold decision 20 years ago to put 20% of their farm into trees. Now that was very bold because all the neighbours said, well, you're going to lose primary production, you're going to have less sheep, you're going to have less red meat. You know what happened? He did that for carbon neutrality, by the way, that's what he was aiming for. But look at the benefits that have accrued over 20 years. So what he's got is half those trees are production trees, so he's getting income from his timber and replanting. The other half are biodiverse plantings, and he's gone from 29 bird species to 120 bird species in those 20 years. And this is the real kicker for us all at a summit like this one, World Food Forum, he's getting more production from less land for the sheep that he's running, 5,000 head. And we do have other examples, but I know time presses us. But there are examples of this around the world, and I know the professor is very strong in innovation, and it's not just about innovation that you might think about in a science lab, although this is all very important as well, but it's innovation in the way we think about the integration of these systems and the way we think about the financial models that allow us to take them forward. But I will leave it there because I know we are a little bit pressed for time. Thanks so much, Professor.
Thank you very much. Thank you so much. Colleagues, you have had the pleasure to listen to leaders in bioeconomy from around the world. There are a lot more leaders here in the audience on bioeconomy. I see Mr. Bioeconomy from the EU, Peter Wehrheim, or Ben Durham, South Africa, Eva Virgin, Sweden. I could go on in the room. And Hugo Chavarria from Latin America, and more and more. I'm so sorry that we are about to run out of time. Actually, we have run out of time. Maria Elena, do you give us 5 minutes for maybe 2 questions before you do the closing remarks? Maybe we get more surprise from the audience. Colleagues, 1-minute interventions are welcome. If you have something you want to contribute, if there's something which upsets you, you need to speak it now. Please, you have the floor. Introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Anna Tam from Australia, representing CSIRO, the Australian National Science Agency. I have a question to Gregory. We know there's a lot of incentive, including you talk about President Biden's policy around promoting biotechnologies. My question is related to regulatories. So we've seen a wave of gene editing crops, and there's still a lot of, I guess, barriers of adoptions because of different regulatory requirements across different jurisdictions. So my question to you is, how do you think the regulatory reforms will come as part of the adoption biotechnologies and actually achieving the impact? Thank you.
Okay, we'll get back to our panel in a moment. 1 or 2 more. Thank you for being brief. Well, then why don't you... please.
I'm certainly not an expert. I'm the independent chair of the council, and I'm a simple lawyer. But I heard now 3 concepts. circular bioeconomy, bioeconomy, and bio-based economy. Can somebody explain me the difference?
No difference, just complementary. I'm happy to share with you on our way out the authoritative bioeconomy definition on which the International Advisory Council on Global Bioeconomy has spent hours and hours and was a global consensus. So let's just stick to bioeconomy. There was a question to you.
For Greg.
Go ahead. Greg, you wanted to go ahead.
Thank you for the question. I mean, I think, in the time that we've been here today, there's probably been some new biotechnology advancement that we don't know about yet. And so you mentioned gene editing, but we don't know what the next technology will bring tomorrow or a year from now. And I think for regulation, you mentioned a very important thing. So the important thing is ensuring safety while having a good enabling environment. And I think the key is flexibility so that regulations can adapt over time as the technology changes. And I think we're working through that in the United States. We've changed some of our regulations and we're continuing to change them to adapt to gene editing. And I think we're seeing a lot of investment in that area because of those changes. So I think it goes hand in hand. But I think you raise a very important point that we really do need to adopt our regulations as these technologies come about.
Thank you. Thank you for clarifying that. Well, colleagues, you have learned a lot about bioeconomy today, country by country, intersectoral, as Christine has outlined. You have heard about new strategies and new initiatives. This is an ongoing process. And before I hand over to you, Maria Elena, I'd like to ask you to come up. Let me thank the team of FAO, which worked hard to make this session possible, especially to you, Lev, and to your colleagues. A round of applause to them. It is not just by coincidence that we are here, you are here, the panelists are here. One more round of applause to our panel, please. Maria Elena Semedo is Deputy Director General, walking up here. Maria Elena, you have been a key spokesperson at Bioeconomy summits. You know this business. Tell us what will happen after this interesting afternoon in FAO with bioeconomy, please.
Thank you, Professor Van Braun. Good afternoon to all of you. And I am very pleased to be here with you. More than that, to listen, to hear from our esteemed panelists. I'm sure all of us will learn a lot today. And thank you all for participating in this event, which is a milestone week for bioeconomy in FAO. We have this week 8 separated bioeconomy-related events taking place here in Rome between the World Food Forum, Science and Innovation Forum, and the International Sustainable Bioeconomy Working Group meeting. I would say that is the moment of bioeconomy, and as you said, thank you, Professor Van Braun, we started together some years back. And I think this is the culmination of what we have been building together. We listened from the dynamic speakers and the exchange, and they're more convinced than ever that bioeconomy is a catalytic tool for agri-food system transformation and sustainable development. Just last month, during the SDG Summit 2023, bioeconomy was prominently featured in the FAO co-lead high impact initiative on nature driving economy transformation. It was one of the 12 UN Secretary General identified for the UN development system to scale up and mobilize actions around the SDG agenda. It has been identified as one of the actions really to help achieve the SDG sustainable agenda. And our Director General, in the opening, he pointed out how FAO members have endorsed bioeconomy for sustainable food and agriculture as a priority area as FAO strategic framework. As you could see, Professor is really high in FAO agenda. And as also quoting the Director General, FAO stands ready and committed to take an even greater leadership role in this helm. And we heard about the importance of agroeconomy in Ireland, in Brazil, in the US, several in Kenya, China, just to mention, I cannot be exhaustive, but all these interventions show that we have a different definition of bioeconomy, or we have a wide range of options, solutions and approaches coming from indigenous knowledge to biotechnology, bioengineering, but also that should be based on science and innovation, but also on traditional knowledge, and to be contextualized. Also, as it has been said, we need system thinking, we need intergenerational approach, and also we need flexibility, and we need partnership across agriculture sectors, from crops, livestock, forestry, fisheries, and aquaculture, and along the value chains. Bioeconomy can unleash opportunities for additional value while reducing environment impacts. The panel also discussion show that is just how widespread and how deep bioeconomy is reinforcing the need for enhancing links and coordinations across sectors, across countries, and across regions, north-south and south-south, and to scale up efforts and investments to develop sustainable bioeconomy in a way that leaves no one behind, because it has also been said that we need to be inclusive. It has to be also a social approach. To leave no one behind, we need to further solidify our alliance and jointly mobilize resources, especially by bringing the firepower of development, finance, and private sector. FAO will continue to play its global role to drive efforts in this regard with the support of our members and many partner institutions, including those presented here today. You ask me how we take it forward. You know that during FAO conference, it has been requested that bioeconomy be discussed in all FAO governing bodies, in FAO all technical committees. We'll bringing it to internal discussion. We'll be working with the countries. We'll be enlarging this partnership, and we'll see how we can also mobilize investment to move this agenda forward. But as you could see, all of you is high on FAO agenda. Our FAO Director General is very committed, is one of the priority program in FAO strategic framework. What more to say? Is our commitment to move this forward. And we look forward to embarking on the next stage of the bioeconomy journey together for the benefit of the people and the planet. I would like to conclude by thanking all our panelists, thanking our moderator, all of you for being here with us today and for our contribution. I cannot conclude without thanking my colleagues who organized this event. They have been putting all their efforts throughout this week to make it happen in a different stage, the World Food Forum, the Science and Innovation, and even outside FAO. A big applause to all of us. Thank you. And have a good evening.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
We need to discuss now.
Okay.